So I actually lived in Baltimore for a long time before moving to New York, and so I catch the news articles, and it seems like there has been a lot of like pushback and things written about it. Is this like, is this more than other cities? Because I feel like I follow your work, I'm a big fan, all of that, but I feel like with this Baltimore in particular, I keep reading stuff from the community, and it seems really mixed. And I'm wondering, you sort of spoke to it, but are you personally like surprised?
There was some controversy in Baltimore, and it was really interesting because I think Baltimore suffers from the fact they have a bit of Me Too syndrome, or where's mine, and we're always getting passed over for the next guy. So, it was something we had to work through. It was something that we knew was part of the landscape there, and we had to work through it, and we did, So the controversy was welcome. It was great. It opened up a dialogue. I'm still not talking to those MICA students. You art student, MICA students, go make art. Leave me alone. But the community, of course, the community, we're there for them.
Could you talk a little bit about the mural arts program in Philadelphia and some stuff they're doing there?
Sure. The mural arts program is a fascinating program. It's now 30 years old. It started as the Anti-Graffiti Network and outgrew that as quick as it could. And they have created, I think, more murals in Philadelphia than in any city in the world. And when I was growing up, I wanted nothing to do with them because I didn't want to have to submit sketches and go through the whole community process. Are you kidding me? But, about 6-7 years ago when we started talking about Love Letter, it really seemed like the only way to do it. And I welcomed the chance to drive their car for a while and use the technology that they had developed. And it was really, it was a transformative process. I crossed over, if you will.
Are there any places that you haven't painted yet that you sort of have as a dream or a goal that you want your work to be represented on?
I'd like to paint the White House black. It washes off, don't worry. Any place that there's, I hate blank walls, unless they're really nice blank walls. So Russia looks good.
We're from Baltimore, so woo!
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, thanks for your work. It's
Go
really
O's.
Beautiful, right? Good day for us. I'm really fascinated by your process of approaching community and engaging them in the process. How do you begin those conversations? Like, who do you approach first, and what's your process like for that?
Well, again, what was interesting in Baltimore was, we were meeting people in community meetings, and it wasn't, I ended up like talking to people on the street. Like we were painting one street in East Baltimore that was like, a row of abandoned houses, like 36 abandoned houses. And so I was just stopping people and having conversations with people on the street. And everybody in Baltimore was engaging and ready to be engaged. I got a conversation going with everybody I talked to in a way that you can't do in Philadelphia or Brooklyn or a lot of other places. And, we were like starting to paint the wall we were starting to paint these row homes. And the one woman in Baltimore that had not been consulted rolled up on us in her car and started screaming on us and was really, really upset. Janice Jacob Hudson lived in the community 25 years, and all she wanted to do was tear down these buildings that we were painting on. She hadn't been consulted at any point in the process, and we had been talking for a year. She was livid. So it was a nightmare. I had a real bad day. And we came back and we engaged her and we talked and we talked and we talked. And I went ahead and finished what we had started painting, which was along the length of these 36 buildings, it said "Forever Together." And we were just about done. And she turned the corner and she walked up and she said, I should tell you a story about these buildings. There was a woman that lived in the building that you've painted that has the T on it and Together. She murdered her 6 kids in that building in 1983, and she's currently serving time. And, from that moment on, the whole block fell apart. And it was like, a huge problem for the neighborhood to deal with. And all they wanted to do is tear down these buildings and turn it into a park. And the fact that I showed up and was like throwing paint on it and possibly extending the life of these buildings was more than she could take. But she saw what we were doing and she saw where it was going, and she was, she's like, it's just amazing that you've painted this message that speaks to that, and it speaks to everything that's going on here. So that's what happens. I think when we go in and we have just a real sincere approach, which is what we have, like, I really don't care what I paint as long as I'm pulling it from the community, because then I just want to be a microphone. So that's, yeah, good words. Thank you.